Hello and welcome to Word Wednesday. It's Pastor Blair. Grab your cup of coffee as we get together to think today. Well, welcome to Word Wednesday. I'm Pastor Blair, and today the word of the day or week or whatever for Word Wednesday is think. And I don't know about you, but we've all heard that, we need to stop and think. My daughter, I love her to death, but she does not always stop and think. She just goes and does, and doesn't really think about the consequence. Maybe that's you sometimes too. We just go and we do things and don't really think about the consequences. And one of the things that a lot of us struggle with sometimes is anger, and how that anger can cause us to act very differently. Some of us are, when we are angry, we can be very explosive. Um, for instance, in the spirit of what this Word Wednesday channel is all about, is I struggle with anger. I really often do not have a middle ground. I usually go from 0 to 60 just like that. There is no in between most of the time. But in James chapter 1, verse 19, it says that everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. But it seems like more often than not, we are quick to become angry and not quick to listen. So to hear the whole story, we're so I know for me, most of the time is I start to listen, but I fill in the blanks and I assume what the other person is saying. But you and I can save ourselves a lot of trouble and pain and heartache if we follow one of those simple rules, is to slow down when you're angry or hurt. The Bible also says that you know that in this there's much that we can learn. Proverbs 14:29 says, patient people have great understanding, but people with quick tempers show their foolishness. And I don't know about you, but I have showed many a foolishness, being quick tempered instead of slow to anger. But yeah, we're called to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. And usually it's the opposite. We're quick to speak, slow to listen, and swift to become angry. And it's all backwards. But if we do the first part of this verse, then we won't be looking like a fool or looking foolish. Being slow to speak and then quick to listen, the last part will be automatic, and we'll find ourselves becoming angry less often. And um, in this process, Proverbs 15 also tells us in verse 28 says, good people think before they answer, evil people have a quick reply, but it causes trouble. You know, how many times have we been quick to be defensive and trying to stand up instead of really listening and taking in the situation? Yeah, that's, we're called to think. And Proverbs 15:18 also tells us that losing your temper causes a lot of trouble, but staying calm settles arguments. So the question is, how can we slow down and think before we rush into an angry response? How can we just slow down, take a breath, and just breathe and not become all red in the face? Well, I think that comes into a wonderful acronym that's going to be listed in the description below or above, depending on which platform you are watching on this morning or whenever you're watching this Word Wednesday. So we're called to think, and that's an acronym. So the T is it truthful? Is what I'm about to say true? That's a good question. Is what I'm about to say true? H, is it helpful? Or will it simply harm the other person? Is it The I, is it inspirational? Does it build up or does it tear down? N, is it necessary? If it's not necessary, why do I need to say it? See, that's where I get my anger comes in because sometimes I'm around a bunch of people and some of these people say some things that are very unnecessary things to say. But they're just very opinionated and I am not. I like to keep my opinions to myself, but they throw out opinion about everything. And sometimes that just gets me so angry and hot underneath the collar for some reason. And instead of talking about it and confronting about it, I just let my anger stew and get bubbled up like a soda until it explodes. And then K is it kind? Will it encourage or discourage someone else? It's not enough to only slow down when you're angry. You also need to take that extreme and that extra time to think. Think about what's going on. Think about what you're going to say. Is it necessary? Is it not? Is it helpful? Is it going to be building up or is it going to destroy someone? These are all things we need to take into consideration. And this is a work in progress for me. I don't know where you are along this spectrum, but that's where I'm at. So, some things I want you to think about this week if you have the time while you're driving in the car or sitting down and drinking your cup of coffee before you get on your smart device or turn on the news or TV or what have you. Um, think about a time when you spoke quickly in anger and regretted it. How did the other person respond? When have you chosen to slow down instead of rushing to an angry response? And how did that bring positive benefits? That's the thing. Like for me, there's a lot of times that my daughter, whew, just plucks that last nerve. And instead of being this whole grizzly bear of a dad, I've been really working on my response and how it can be beneficial to her and to help build her up because 9 times out of the 10, the stuff she does where I go from 0 to 60 doesn't really warrant that 60 mark. It's just her being a kid. It's crazy things that kids do because they don't think, because they're a kid. They don't have the experience like she doesn't have the experience like I do. And so I've been really working hard on um, not rushing to get angry over certain things she does and to try to talk through it calmly and bring about positive benefits because sometimes when I'm talking about it positively, she gets angry and upset. And if I'm angry and upset, then I won't be able to help her process and help her to understand what's going on. And um, and then the other question is thinking about the think acronym. Have you used any part of that acronym and how did that help keep you from an angry response? So that's just a couple things to work on, think about whatever this week as you go forth. We find ourselves, I don't know if you do, but I find myself getting angry over little things sometimes when I'm really not taking care of myself. And so my prayer is that you take care of yourself and that you find some time to breathe and to connect with God and to slow down and to listen and slow in response and not to be quick to anger, but to really think things through. Think about, is it truthful? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? Well, friends, thanks for joining. Take care. God bless. And remember that the best is yet to come. See you next week on Word Wednesday. Take care.